At the Senate, during my maiden speech, I touched on one issue, which is go back to the very basic structure of a society, how good they will be or how better. That's on education. My formative years in Sarawak, grew up in the school, which is have a very good multiracial mix, gave me a very good foundation of how education should be. It also showed what is lacking in our education system now. But one thing I do remember is that in my school years in Sacred School in Cebu, we never learned about the history of Sarawak, never learned the history of Malaysia in 1963. What we do know more is about the history of Malaysia. How Sarawak came about, it was just a very brief remark of the Brooks rule and nothing much more to it. This is something which I believe the education department, the ministry, should look into and make it right so that the proper history of Malaysia are taught to our children, our next generation. As I said just now, the education that I went through was very multiracial. We have got Ibans and Malays in our school, and English was the medium of instructions. It was a missionary school. And that's when I get to learn and appreciate the value of respecting each other and also realizing what is prejudice and discrimination. Malaysia, we face quite a lot of prejudice and discrimination. And this is something which I hope the education ministry can play a better role to create awareness so that we appreciate each other even though we come from very different racial, religious, or geographical background. It is quite sad to see nowadays our education system. We've spent quite a lot of time in our syllabus on religion and not enough to emphasize on universal value that can be good for our children in the future. To be more competitive, we aspire to be a developed country. If we look at the textbook of the students nowadays, it does not point in that direction at all. And I can only, in my speech, I quoted what Nelson Mandela has said when he was the president of South Africa. After he'd gone through the apartheid period, he was jailed, he was ostracized by the ruling government at that time. And he was saying that, I quote, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." He was at that time trying to change South Africa for the better, having gone through decades of racial discrimination, going to the extreme of the apartheid period. And he also mentioned, I quote again, "The power of education extends beyond the development of skills we need for economic success. It can contribute to nation building and reconciliation. Our previous system emphasized the physical and other differences of South Africans with devastating effects. We are steadily but surely introducing education that enables our children to exploit their similarities and common goals, while appreciating the strengths in their diversity." Malaysia should emulate what Nelson Mandela said.